you have an opposition whose objective it is to ensure that the government at the federal level is not only discredited, but also is brought to an end at the soonest. To ensure that ethnic and religious divides in this country are emphasized and are encouraged in order to achieve their objective, which is to bring to end the rulership or the leadership of this government and this administration. I'm talking about an opposition that is somehow, somewhere or the other involved with those that have been attacking our people, waging a war against our military, whose objective it is to dismember our country. They have an association of some sort, a link of some sort with these people. Why? Because they encourage them. Why? Because they have defended them. And I'll come to all this. Why? And they cite it as evidence of the weakness and the inability of the government to preserve law and order and to protect our people. Now, there's nothing wrong with criticizing a government for not doing its job. Governments have to protect people. Governments have to secure our borders. And there's nothing wrong with saying that if they got it wrong, they should do a better job. And we've said this in the past. I've said that for a number of years now, that we could have taken a harder line on the Haramites and fought them harder. I'm glad that is being done now, and we see evidence of it. However, when your focus is more on rejoicing at the fact that the government cannot do its job properly, or did not do its job properly, or has not been able to secure the release of the girls, or stop the insurgents from killing people and slitting their throats, when your focus is more on that than it is on the very fact that these people have mustered the will to get up and kill our people, dismember our nation, rape our women, abduct our children, burn our homes and houses, you do not express your anger towards those people that commit these atrocities. Rather, you reserve your anger, you hardly criticize them, and you vent your anger on the government. I think there's something wrong. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is where we are today in this country. A situation where the official opposition will criticize our armed forces, our security agents, our government, and will not criticize Boko Haram effectively and consistently. I think that is against the national interest. I think that is unpatriotic. I think it is ungodly. I think it is unacceptable. And I think it's something that every decent, civilized, patriotic, and right-thinking Nigerian should resist and should stand against. What is it that you want? You want power. At what cost? You want power at the cost of the blood of our people. You want power at the cost of the abduction of our girls. You want power because you will do anything to get this government out. Why? You believe, one, the man that is there comes from the wrong part of the country. You believe he shares the wrong faith. You believe that at least half of this country should become an Islamic fundamentalist state, forgetting that there are millions of Christians in the north and there are millions of moderate Muslims in the north that are decent people that do not want an ISIL-type state in any part of this country. You want to tamper with the whole essence and the rationale and the essence of the federal constitution, which says this is a secular state. You're prepared to tamper with all that. You're prepared to do anything, question anything, kill anybody, support the killing of anybody, simply because you want power. And when you get that power, and God forbid that you should, what will you then do with it? You will suppress those that oppose you. You will impose your demonic agenda on this nation. You will break the power of the church. You will persecute Christians. You will persecute moderate Muslims. You will impose your will. And you will allow your Haramite friends to sit on the table with you at the villa and determine policy. This will never happen in Nigeria. And those in the opposition that covertly, and it is a covert agenda, because nobody there is going to get up to tell you this is what we believe in, because the minute they do that, they carry it out of the back. So don't expect them to admit it. Expect them to deny it. But judge people not by their words, but by their actions. Let us look at some of those actions here today. You know, today you will hear a few home truths. Now, whether you like it or not, or anybody likes us, I really have no apology. But I believe that when you have got to a position of leadership in this country, and you have the privilege of serving at various levels, the levels that I have had the privilege of serving, I think, you know, you have absolutely nothing to lose by telling the truth. You have a duty to tell the truth and to signal a few things. So that when these things begin to happen, people will say, well, at least a few people said it. Let's look at it. What's the evidence? Number one, within the opposition today, you have an individual who, I must say, I have tremendous respect for as an individual, and I've met him a number of times. I've interacted with him. I've never worked with him, but I've interacted with him. And I have immense respect for him in terms of his historical contributions to the affairs of our country, particularly when we were at war in Chad, and he played a key role there. And you know, one thing about us is that we must always look at the good and the bad. We tend to either idolize people and forget that they had good points, or we demonize people and forget that they have a good side as well. Most human beings have a bit of both. And I will not talk about the bad side without referring to the good side.